Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Jita Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Sri Rupam Sagradatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitang Tang Sajevam Sadvaitam Savadutam Purijana Sahitam Sri Krishna-lila Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakan Vitangscha Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chaksurun Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Shayam Rupagadamayam Dadati Shapadantikam Nindantam Pulakot Korena Bikasam Nipa Prasunachchavim Prodikritva Bujadvayam Hari Hari Itu Chai Vedantam Muhu Nityantam Drutamasru Nirjara Chai Sinchantam Urvitalam Gayantam Nija Parasadaya Parivatam Sri Gaura-chandram Nama Ananda Lila Maya Vigrahaya Hemabadivyachta Visundaraya Tasmai Mahaprema Rasa Pradaya Chaitanya-chandraya Namo Namaste. Some reading from some of the talks of Srila Guru Maharaj and regarding Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he says, so much intensity in dedication towards the supreme beauty we have never found as we find in the life of Sri Chaitanyadev. How? Only hearing the name of Krishna, when that enters his ear, he faints. Looking at the Vigraha, the deity of Jagannath, floods are oozing from his eyes. Only a slight connection and a great result is found in the reaction in the body and mind. Remember that after Mahaprabhu takes sannyas, Kahan Krishna Prananath Murali Vadan, Kahan Karun Kahan Pan Brajendra Nandan. He's madly engaged in the search for Sri Krishna. Right? As Guru Maharaj tells, search for Sri Krishna, reality the beautiful. We just heard recently the glories of Srinivas Acharya, and as he expressed in his praise of the Goswamis, He Radhe Brajadevike Chalalite He Nanda Shuno Kutaha, how they're searching for Krishna. And here, Radhe Brajadevike Chalalite He Nanda Shuno. Where is Radharani and the Braja Gopis and the son of Nanda Sutta? Right? So, in the Bhagavatam, after Krishna has his loving interaction with the Braja Gopis, in the sloka Napareham Niravaja Samyudam, he's saying that you've made me break the promise that I made in Bhagavad Gita. The promise he made in Bhagavad Gita, Ye yatamam prapadyante tams tateva bhajamyaham. That as someone offers themselves to me, I offer myself to them. Right? This reciprocal relationship. Or as it says, as you surrender to me, I surrender to you. Right? Guru Maharaj reminds us to think about that though. The finite will offer themselves in service to the infinite, and the infinite will offer themselves in service to the finite. Not exactly an equal exchange. Right? Finite gives everything. What does the infinite do? Gives everything, except the balance. But generally, that's the rule. As you surrender to me, I reciprocate that. Tvam bhakti yoga paribhavita ritsaroja ase shrutekshitapato nanunata pungsam. This verse is mentioned in regard to Adwaita Acharya, because we could say devotees have different capacity. Right? Rupa Goswami is saying, Sri Krishna Karshinichasa, devotion, Krishna Bhakti, Krishna Prem is demonstrated where the infinite comes under the control of the finite. Right? Although we don't think of the higher and finite, but just for the sake of example to understand this, where the infinite comes under the control of the finite. Guru Maharaj also reminds us, like, who can be trusted with that? What finite on that side of the equation can be entrusted? The infinite will come under their control. Right? Krishna comes under the control of Yashoda. Right? Under the control of the elderly gopis who, while they're doing their gopi activities, they tell Krishna to dance. And he starts dancing for their pleasure. He's under their control. So Rupa Goswami is saying that is the identifying trait, quality, characteristic of pure devotion, that the infinite comes under the control of the finite. So in the case of, we say, the capacity of these different devotees, Adwaita Acharya, before the appearance of Mahaprabhu, the guru-varga appears. And guru-varga can mean literally the gurus, but teachers, but mother, father, auntie, uncle, they're also under the general heading of guru-varga, the seniors. So Adwaita Acharya, Haridas Thakur, and Adwaita Acharya, seeing, serving the situation at the time, and mercifully saddened to see the people devoid of Krishna connection, Krishna consciousness. So he prays to have the Lord descend. How? Tulasi dala matrena jalasya chulakena va vikrinite swamatmanam bhaktebhyo bhakta-vatsala. With Tulsi and Ganga jal. And why is that his strategy? See? Because elsewhere Krishna is saying, if in reciprocation for Tulsi offered to me, I have to give myself. It's such a great offering. Tulsi and Ganga, irresistible to me, that in response, I must give myself. So that's why Adwaita we could say Adwaita could just be calling, he's Adwaita Acharya, but with Tulsi and Ganga Jal, a palm full of Tulsi and Ganga Jal, he brings Mahaprabhu down, Krishna down as Mahaprabhu. And we're told two things to consider. One is, it's the time for the Yuga avatar, right? To Harer Nama, Harer Nama, Harer Nama Eva Kevalam, Kalo Nasteva 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 Gatyaranyata. The only way in the Kali-yuga is through Nam Sankirtan. So it's a time for the Yuga avatar, and that coincides with Krishna's inner aspiration that's been awakened. The curiosity within him has been awakened, observing the devotional qualities, hearts, characteristics of Srimati Radharani. So we could say that Krishna's default position is omniscience, right? Being the personality of Godhead. Right? Yet, Kaviraj Goswami in Chaitanya-charitamrita has Krishna saying, I can't estimate the greatness of the devotion of Srimati Radharani. That I can't properly estimate. Right? So, in the beginning of Chaitanya-charitamrita, when Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami is presenting the pastimes of Mahaprabhu, first, there has to be some mention of Krishna, you'd have to say. Right? Because we're saying Mahaprabhu is who? Right? Just like in the Bhagavatam, so many avatars and incarnations are mentioned. And Krishna is within the list also. And we're told that Sutta Goswami is thinking, the way people are hearing this, they might think Krishna is just one of them. So, given there, ete cha angsa kalak pungsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Shrayam. There are many different types of incarnations in this list we just mentioned. Angsa, Kala, partial, Ashakta Vesh, there are Leela avatars, there's so many, but Krishna is Swayam Bhagavan. He didn't manifest from any other. Right? Kaviraj Goswami will also quote the Brahma-samhita, what is that? Departure eva dashantana mabhupetya lilayate, etc. Saying when you light one candle and another candle and another candle, another candle, he said there's the original candle from which all the other ones were lit. That's one example he gives. And Rupa Goswami in his Laghu Bhagavatamritam, he also must begin with Krishna. He's making the case for Mahaprabhu, but of course Krishna must be mentioned. So he quotes Brahma-samhita, Ishvara Parama Krishna, Satchidananda Vigraha, Anadir Adir Govinda, Sarvakarana Karanam. Not only Krishna, but more specifically, Govinda. It's interesting, the Brahma-samhita begins that way. And remember, it was Mahaprabhu who, so-called discovers on his South Indian tour these two books that he thinks are supremely important. One, Brahma-samhita, the other one, Krishna-karnamritam. And he brings them back, and we're told he's with Ramananda and Swarup Damodar and the others, and all the devotees make copies of them. And we're told it's unparalleled Siddhantic gems within the Brahma-samhita. So much so, Srila Guru Maharaj said once that someone said, it so much supports Mahaprabhu's philosophy and position, we think maybe Mahaprabhu wrote it himself and saying it's Brahma-samhita. And Guru Maharaj's response to that, if that is true, then its value just went up. It's not less, then it would be more if it was written by Mahaprabhu. But it's Brahma-samhita. But if we say all inspiration is influence, then under what influence and did this inspiration come from Brahma? It's all good. Brahma, Krishna, Mahaprabhu, it's the Brahma-samhita Govindamari Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Right? And everything is there about all these avatars. See this point again, avatars, so many avatars, expansions, angshas, parts, extended parts. So, Kaviraj Goswami, in one place in Charitamrita, almost like apologetically, he's saying like, I need to say all these things about Krishna so that you'll understand who Mahaprabhu is. If you're wondering, like, this book's supposed to be about Mahaprabhu and you're talking so much about Krishna. Yes, there's a good reason for that. So Rupa Goswami, he begins his Lagu Bhagavatamritam by saying, Tark, argument, counter-argument, that according to Vedanta Sutra, that's useless in trying to establish what the truth is, what to speak of the ultimate and absolute truth. Tarko Pratishtanat is one of the sutras of Vedanta Sutra, where it also says, Shastra Yonitva, the way shall be revealed truth. Right? And I just like to, what do you say, footnote, sidebar here, that Srila Prabhupada was giving a talk once, and he said so matter-of-factly, he said, just like those who do not accept the Bible, they're called heathens. He said, similarly, those who do not accept Veda, they're called atheists. So, like, whether someone accepts the revealed truth, Veda, like he's saying, if you don't accept Veda, similarly, they're called atheists, people who don't accept the Vedas. So that's another discussion, right? But just to establish a foundation, Amnaya Prahat Tattvam Harim Iha Paramam Sarva Shaktim Rasabdim. The Amnaya Sutra, Bhakti Vinod Thakur. Amnai means revealed truth. So Rupa Goswami is saying in the beginning, this isn't something that's subjected to argument. Achantikalu ye babas tangs tarkena yojayet. There's that word, tark, again, means argument. Saying, things that are inconceivable are beyond the argumentation. Right? So he said, so I'm going to deal with revealed truth. Right? And just so we have a concept of what the origin, the source of revealed truth, it reminds me of when Srila Guru Maharaj was preaching in Karachi, and the man challenges him and says, if the finite can know the infinite, he's not infinite. Right? And Guru Maharaj told him, if the infinite cannot make himself known to the finite, he's not infinite. And he said, like, shake his hands, see? If the infinite cannot make itself known to the finite, therein lies our prospect and the foundation of all theistic culture. Can the infinite make itself known to the finite? Right. That means revelation, revealed truth. Whether something qualifies as revealed truth, we're within the jurisdiction of Veda, which again, Guru Maharaj reminds us, Veda doesn't mean knowledge. In some contexts, yeah, he's saying, but more specifically, Veda means know. It's in an imperative sense. It's saying, know this to be true. Why Veda? Vedamata. Why, like mother, the example, you want to know who your father is, you can, conduct an empiric investigation, right? Do a Google search, right? Or you can ask your mother. And on the strength of the mother's authority on this subject, you get knowledge that is beyond your experience. Right? That we have to understand. So, is it possible by hearing from an authority that you can get knowledge beyond your experience? And the answer is yes. So what to speak of, we're talking about revealed truth descending into this realm via, Veda. Right? But we say Sadhu Shastra, Guru Vaishnava. Right? So, and particularly, right, Veda Vyas, and we know that Narada finds Vedavyas in his ashram on the Saraswati river. Remember, the Saraswati, it means that divine current, right, that's coming down. And why is he feeling despondent? He gave Mahabharata, so many Puranas, Vedanta, everything, and still he's feeling despondent, right? And Priya Paramahansanan Tadeva Hyachuta Priya. So he's saying, because Jugupsitam Dharma Kate Anushasana, although it was not your intention, by giving religion, you're keeping people bound in material existence. When really the purpose was to liberate them, but they're using it. Right? Why else would the Bhagavatam begin after the first sloka, second sloka, the Abhideya sloka, Dharmak projita kaitava paramon, right away saying, Kaitava dharma means cheating religion will not be found in the pages of the Bhagavatam. It shows like he got the message from Narada. Second sloka, cheating religion, as I heard from Narada that that's what's going on in my name, stops today. Remember I said, with these three slokas, Janmadhyasya Dharmak Projita Kaitavotra, Nigama Kapator Galitam Palam, the Sambandha, Abhideya, Prayojan, Tattva slokas of the Bhagavatam, he said, Vedavyas penned these slokas, he said, and sent it to the market. But he's saying there in the second sloka, Kaitava Dharma, cheating religion, religion with some ulterior motive other than pleasing the personality of Godhead. Ado arpita paschad kriyeta. If it's Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, etc., must be for Krishna, not that you've got some ulterior motive behind these things. So, and ironically, as indicated in the Prayojan Tattva sloka, the third one, Nigama kalpaturor galitam palam shuka mukharam ritadavasam. Speaking of revealed truth, Veda, kalpaturu, the kalpa vriksha, the desire tree of Vedic literature, which is that tree which appears to be many branches, right? Just like a mango tree has a trunk, many branches, twigs, etc., but it only exists for one purpose, really, is to produce mangoes. You can say, no, it gives shade, or you can use it for firewood, or make a desk. Yes, you can, whatever it is you want, you can find in Veda. You can use them for some other purpose, some lower purpose. But the essence, the reason the raison d'etre of a mango tree is to produce mangoes. The purpose of the tree of Vedic literature is to deliver this ultimate fruit, Madhura-rasa, which is found in the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam, which addresses the inescapable eros aspirations. Right? The poet Auden said, "We are composed of eros and dust." That kind of sums it up. Saying eros and dust. So then we can, the dust, we don't want to stay connected with that. So the eros part, what is he telling them? Janmadhyasya in the first sloka, that this prospect, Vishwanath Chakrabarti Thakur has really, it's also like Vedanta Sutra, Janmadhyasya, but here this Adi means Adi Rasa, Mukhya Rasa, Madhura Rasa. And Srila Prabhupada in his purports says that the Mayavadis, by denying the personality of Godhead, or that God is a person, said are indirectly giving impetus to mundane sensuality. Why? Because if God is not a person, if he's not Govinda, right, who can is the epitome of sensuality in all forms, seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, smelling, feeling, everything. If he's not that, then the only place where you can exercise or express that tendency would be towards the mundane. Right? So Chakrabarti Thakur was saying, that's being addressed in the first three words. Saying, everything is springing from Madhura-rasa. And as Srila Guru Maharaj says in his slokas, introduction to his Bhagavatam collection, Yadamiyam mahima Sri Bhagavatam katayam pratipatam anubhutam apya labdhavideya tadakila rasamurti shamalila avalambam Madhura-rasadi Sri Radha padapadmam prapadye. Although her name is not mentioned ostensibly, or it's only alluded to, Aradhita, the one who offered herself completely and fully in service to Krishna. Every sloka, every story, every step of the way is meant to take us in one direction, the service of her holy lotus feet. How compelling is that aspirationally? That Krishna is saying, I cannot estimate how great she is and what it is she's experiencing. And it appears in our mutual exchange, although I'm Rasaraj, Rasika Shekhar, ecstasy personified, saying, she's the one who's mining the ecstasy from Krishna and nourishing her serving group with what she extracts from Krishna. And he's saying, so I am ecstasy personified, and it appears to me in this mutual exchange that what she is experiencing is 10 million times greater than what I'm experiencing. So, aparam kasyapi pranayi janavindashukutuki rasotsamam ritva madhuram upabhoktam kamapiya. That here, ritva madhuram upabhoktam means he has to plunder the wealth of the heart of Srimati Radharani. right? Because as Guru was saying, she will not give that easily. So he has to steal it, in essence, right? To experience that. Because as Govinda, that one who's, nourishing, supplying pleasure to all the senses, Govindam Adi Purusha, he's the Adi Purush, the supreme male, the original enjoyer. And the position of a devotee is never one of enjoyer. So he can only understand it theoretically, he cannot experience that. But Kutuki means observing her has awakened in him the curiosity to experience her position. So, Sri Radhaya Pranaya Mahima Kiddusho Vanayeva Sadhya Yenadbhuta Madhurima Kiddusam Madhya Sokyam Chasha Maranubhavata Kiddusam Beti Lobha Tad Bhavadya Samajani Sachi Garba Sindo Harindu. Saying, to experience the type of love that she alone experiences, what is that? Prem, Krishna Prem. What is the kind of Krishna Prem that she alone experiences called Mahabhav? Mahabhav Chintamani, Mahabhav Swarup Radha Thakurani. Right? Krishna consciousness, we should always remember, is the celebration of the heart of Srimati Radharani. How wonderful is that? And who's the head promoter, canvasser? Krishna. We could expect that Radharani's friends, the Sakhis and the Gopis, that they're going to say so many things in her favor. Of course they will. They're her exclusive servitors. They're always going to be promoting her. We might expect to hear those things from that group. Right? But the number one canvasser, promoter of the glories of Srimati Radharani, who? Krishna, Gauranga, Jadi Gaur no hoita tabiki hoita kamari daritam dehe, Radhar Mahima Prema Rasasima Jagata Janatake. So much so, Basu Gaur saying, if Gauranga had not come down, we wouldn't know the greatness of Radharani and the limits of her limitless Krishna Prem Mahabhav. So, but when this is being discussed, we hear in Garga Sangita that Srimati Radharani tells, when Krishna's announcing his plans, first to come as Krishna in this world, that Radharani is saying, you have to bring everything, the Jamuna, the whole of Vrindavan, you have to bring that. Not a replica, a satellite, an extension, no, you have to bring the original, our paraphernalia. Everything we have here, we have to bring that. And Krishna, a little hesitation, and Radharani says, a second time, you must do this, or I'm not going. And of course, Krishna has to concede, and they come, and that's Krishna-lila. But then, anarpita charim chirat kornavatirna kalo, samar payatam unatojala rasam swabhakti sriyam. After some time, Krishna is thinking, for such a long time, this Krishna Prem is not available to the people. And the Yuga Dharma, time for the Yuga Avatar comes, and he has this inner desire as well, and he's saying that Kaviraj Goswami actually quotes Bhagavad Gita. That's like Paritranaya Saruna, Yada Yada Hi Dharmasya, these slokas where Krishna is saying at which time he descends in the world. But he's using them in a new way. Because just after these two famous verses, why Krishna descends in the world, why he comes personally, it also says that Yad Yada Chariti Shrestha, whatever a great man does, the world will follow. So in the context of Mahaprabhu, he's saying, other avatars, they can do different divine functions, saying, but only I can give prem, Krishna prem. So it requires that I come. But how, in what role shall he come? Saying, if what the great man does, everyone else will follow, then swabhaktebhya sudham nijabhajana mudram upadishan. He will come as a devotee, showing bhakta-bhav, and ultimately radha-bhav. He will show this personally, right, for everyone else to follow. So, and here Guru Maharaj is saying, so much intensity and dedication towards the Supreme Beauty we've never found as we find in Chaitanya-dev. Right, but Krishna is the Supreme Beauty, and if Mahaprabhu is in essence, the Bhav Murti, the mirroring the heart of Srimati Radharani, then we understand that comes from her. Right? Only hearing the name of Krishna, he faints. Like the Chandidas song about Shyamanam, the effects of Shyamanam upon Srimati Radharani. Looking at the deity of Jagannath, floods are oozing from his eyes. It's like Ganga-like streams of tears. And Vrindavan Das Thakur mentions that normally the Ganga is associated with the lotus feet of the Lord. Right? Saying, but here in the pastimes of Mahaprabhu, Ganga-like streams of tears are pouring out of his eyes in the presence of Jagannath, whom he's seeing as Shyama Sundar Krishna. But through the eyes of Srimati Radharani, the way she sees Krishna. And again, which is Krishna consciousness. Right? It's the way she sees things, the way she sees Krishna, the influence of the name of Krishna upon her, the flute of Krishna upon her, the aroma of Krishna upon her, all of these things. Krishna is now experiencing Radha Bhavaduti Subalita, enveloped by the heart of Srimati Radharani, which is so golden and so radiant that it's converted Shyama Sundar Krishna into Gauranga Sundar Mahaprabhu. There are so many religious men so far traced in history, but so much intensity coming in contact with the highest conception of the Lord. The effect, so much intense, is never found in any of the devotees in the history of the whole world, except that of Radha, Radhika. Equal, they are equal. So much intense hankering to serve the Lord, to be united with Him, aspiring after union with the Lord. Like Guru Maharaj sometimes will quote the verse, Prati anga lage kande prati anga more, which is said to come from Srimati Radharani, saying, every atom of her existence is crying out for its correspondent in Krishna. So much intensity is never found in the history of any religion of the world as we find in Sri Radhika and Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Pause. Then Guru Maharaj says, and then someone in Nityananda and other places. And he says, so much hankering, so much intense attraction for the highest truth. This is what has taken us to Gaudiya Math. We have no sympathy nor charm for anything else or any proposal or any principle ever so given to the world. The connection of Radharani and Gauranga-dev has attracted us most in its highest conception. Everything else is trash. That's Guru Maharaj. This is classic Guru Maharaj. Just read that again. The connection of Radharani and Gauranga-dev has attracted us most in its highest conception. Everything else is trash. And I mean, I can read these words, but when Srila Guru Maharaj said, he really means it. From the depths of his inner being and soul. And then, of course, he says, Hare Krishna, Gaur Haribol, Gaur Haribol, Gaur Haribol, Gaur Haribol. And if that wasn't enough, and by the way, I should say, when Guru Maharaj, he said in another context, when he came to Gaudiya Math, because what does Gaudiya Math here mean? It means Krishna consciousness. Okay? Don't think in terms religious organization. Gaudiya Math, it's a concept of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Right? It's all this. That's what I say. Krishna consciousness is a celebration of the heart of Srimati Radharani. And that heart overwhelmed Krishna and converted him into Mahaprabhu. Right? Everything else comes out of that. So Guru Maharaj is saying, when they didn't have palatial buildings and temples and like that. And he said, but what attracted him was the dignity of the conception. Right? Right? So, and I like to say before getting to this next sloka, which is from Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur, the Guru Maharaj is going to quote, but Srila Prabhupada Swami, he liked to quote another verse of Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur. Dante nidaya trinakam parayor nipatya kritpa chakaku ahange tang satam branimi he sadhava eva sakala vihaya durad Chaitanya-charitamrita kurutanuragan. That Prabodhananda is saying very humbly, like taking a straw between his teeth. And he's saying, my dear sir, you are so learned, you are so exalted, you are so dignified and so generous. So I'm asking one favor from you, which I'm sure, being the merciful, magnanimous person you are, that you will grant. So I just one favor I ask of you. And what is that? Forget everything you know and turn your attention to the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That's what is required. Forget everything you know and just turn your attention to the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. At whatever stage you are in life, whatever your position is, forget it all and turn your attention to the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Guru Maharaj quotes this verse, which tells us what happened when people did that. Stri putradi katam jahur bishaina, shastra pravadam buddha, yogendra bijahur marun niyamaka, klesham tapas tapasa, Jnana vyasa vidim jahuscha jatayas Chaitanya-charitamrita param avis kurvati bhakti yoga parivim naivanya asid rasa Chaitanya-charitamrita. Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur, the previous guru of Gopal Bhatta Goswami, who was a Ramanuj Vaishnava, and after coming in connection with Mahaprabhu, he left everything, settled in Vrindavan near Sri Kunda, And he's written Nabadwip Sataka, Vrindavanam Sataka, Radha-rasa Shuddha-nidhi, and so many books. In one of his poems, he writes, Sri Putradi Katam Jahur Bishaina. When Mahaprabhu came and expressed himself here with his transcendental devotion towards Krishna, Sri Putradi Katam Jahur Bishaina, the ordinary worldly people, for the time being, left all their talks about wife and children. For the time being, they stopped all those talks. Shastra Pravadam Buddha. The scholars, for the time being, paused all their talks about the different meanings of the scriptures. Comparative study of different scriptures. What they say, what is the purport, what is the meaning of so many scriptures, and what is the difference? They left that all. Yogindra Vijahur Marunyamaka Klesham. And the yogis, for the time being, they left the pain of acquiring mastership over breathing, their breath, svasha. They left the practice of controlling their breath, and thereby to attain some mystic condition of mind. Marunya maka klesham tapas tapasa. And those who were addicted to self-imposed pain, that is penances, they gave up that sort of idea temporarily. Tapas tapasa. And then jnana abhyasa vidim jahusta jatayas. The sannyasins left the culture of Vedanta. What is true, what is false, Maya, what is Brahma, all these things. Chaitanya-charitamrita param maviskurbhati bhakti yoga paravim naivandya asir rasa. Temporarily, the taste for all their practices ceased, temporarily stopped, and some wonderful thing was brought down by Chaitanya-dev here in the phenomenal world. They all looked with wonder and stopped their own practices in which they were engaged, so fully engrossed. They left it for the time being, leaving everything. Everyone had a look at the strange attempt of Chaitanya-dev. What has he got? He is showing so many feats never known to the world, crying for hours together, days together crying, hours together laughing, sometimes fainting, sometimes dancing. What are these feats? And Krishna, Krishna, he's chanting in such a way the whole area, all the hearts in the area are as if melting away. Such korun, such piteous sound coming out of him and creating a wave that hard hearts are also being melted by the degree of that piteousness and the wailing, as if he has lost such a great jewel of his life, of his heart, as if his heart has been taken out of him. He is so crying, wailing, such a degree of wailing none have ever experienced. Korun rasa. The most piteous thing has come down. In this way, so many feats are coming day and night. All were astounded, leaving everything and only staring at the movements of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Hare Krishna. So, and to conclude, another verse from Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur. Yata yata gaura padara vinde, vinde tapaktim krita punyarasi, tata tatot sarpati hridya kasmat, radha padamboja sudamburasi. And remember, Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur is Astasaki Tunga Vidya. So one of the 8 principal Saki friends of Radharani. So you think, the central reality, Radha and Krishna, Lalita Vishaka, 8, Astasaki Tunga Vidya descends as Prabodhananda Saraswati and is telling, where the entrance to Vrindavan is. She should know. Right? Do this and you'll get entrance into Vrindavan. Right? The entrance to Vrindavan, Nabadwip. The entrance to Krishna-lila, Gaura-lila. Krishna-lila amrita sar tar shata shatadar das dike baha jaha hoite. Sri Chaitanya-lila hoy sorovarakshoi manasad hangsa charaha tahate. Krishna's Kaviraj at the conclusion of Madhya-lila draws this comparison. And Krishna-lila amrita, Krishna-lila is amrita sar, the creme de la creme of nectarine substances, reserved for the highest section of liberated souls, otherwise inaccessible. Right? That inaccessible thing, you can say. Kotishvapi mahamune. Koti durlab madhya, koti mukta durlab madhya ek Krishna bhakta. Out of 10 million liberated souls, you may find one who is a devotee of Krishna. So that ultimate inaccessible realm and divine substance, Krishna-lila, he's saying, what is Gaura-lila? The magnanimous distribution of Krishna-lila in all directions, implying including the unqualified. So Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur concludes saying, give all your serving energy and capacity dedicated to the lotus feet of Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Vindeta bhaktim krita punyarasi. Krita punyarasi means sumedasa, yajantihi sumedasa, Krishna varnam tusha Krishnam sango pangashra parshadam, yagye sankirtana praye, yajantihi sumedasa. Those who are sumedasa, sukritivan, krita punyarasi, of refined theistic intellect, they will perceive that the entrance to Vrindavan is Nabadwip, the entrance to Krishna-lila is Gaura-lila, and they will give their full attention to the lotus feet of Gauranga Mahaprabhu. And what will come as a consequence? Yata tata tatot sarpati hridya kasmat. From deep within the heart's core. He said, what did he say? Sada hridaye spurat kandare hridaye kandare spuratu va sachinandana. Same benediction coming from Rupa Goswami and Srup Damodar and Kaviraj Goswami, Charitamrita. Deep within the heart's core, what? The Radha-rasa Shuddha Nidhi will flow. Another work of Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur. Right? Radha Dasyam, the promise, the promised land that appears in the Bhagavatam, saying that flow will come from deep within the heart's core and they will spring out of the soil of Vrindavan. Tata tato sarpani hridya kasmat radha padamboja sudam burasi, and thereby achieving the service of the holy lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. Hare Krishna.